Hi everyone, this is Andrew Kissin, Senior Marketing Manager at Zahn Dental. I'm here with Matt Viens, Supervisor High Tech Training. Matt, not too long ago, 3Shape came out with an upgrade of 19.3 software. Can you give us a little bit of an overview or a rundown on what's new and what our lab customers should be excited about?
Yeah, of course. So one of the things that has been a big feature that we've been looking forward to in 19.3 has been the copy denture. And that's been a big issue in the past, is not being able to replicate these exact dentures to what people wanted to. So having that feature appear in 19.3 was a big plus, and also I think they enhanced the auto design workflow, which is another great tool that is used for single crowns and single copings. So those are the two big features that we saw come out of 19.3.
So tell me more about the copy denture feature. How can a crown and bridge lab or somebody who's new to 3Shape really implement or use this in their everyday workflow, whether they're, trying to get into digital dentures or get into more of a removable work process? What's that look like for them?
So it's actually a little bit easier because it introduces them into the digital workflow of digital dentures and RPDs and whatnot, by allowing them to take an existing denture and be able to scan that in and replicate it digitally. So then they can fabricate that without having to go through any of the design workflow. So it gives them a nice introduction into the digital dentistry side of dentures, but then allows them to kind of explore how they can replicate existing dentures without having to design them from scratch, essentially.
So if I'm a dental laboratory and I just used an analog or a traditional way to make a denture, I'm now scanning that and then kind of digitally altering and reproducing, or is that the process?
So the scanning itself is really nice because it captures it nice and clean and allows you to just capture the top and bottom side and then stitch the two together. And then you can just basically, it automatically creates either a monoblock STL from there that you can just go ahead and print or mill without having to do any sort of touch-ups. It does give you the option to do the touch-ups if you want to kind of make it a little bit more accurate. But then you have the option where you can go ahead and segment the teeth as well. So even without doing any sort of design work, you can just go ahead and point out which are the teeth, have them segment them, and if you want to, group them into individual groups like posteriors versus anterior group, and then fabricate them from there. So without having to go through the traditional rigmarole of doing a denture design, you just go ahead and essentially point out the design differences in your scan, and then just go ahead and fabricate it from there, which is really nice.
So at the end of the day, it's all about time savings. Like in the dental lab workflow, how does designing and manufacturing or designing this digitally change the process from the traditional method to now being able to do that digitally? In your experience, what do you see that looking like in terms of time savings?
So as far as time savings, it is so much easier to do digital dentures because the traditional denture workflow is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, probably about 3 hours or so, and that's just hands-on work. So it's not including any sort of waiting time or whatnot. But the digital side is far less. You're talking about a 15-minute design from scratch, and then whatever time it costs to mill it. So there's really no hands-on time as far as that. It's all done through the computer and CAM. But even with this new copy denture, it kind of moves it even further because instead of spending the 15 minutes on design trying to get the occlusion correct, you already have the existing stasis of the current denture, and then you can use that, just kind of replicate that directly without having to do any design changes.
So who do you think is really the big winner in terms of implementing or adopting the copy denture feature from the software? Is it Crown and Bridge Lab, who now is looking to get into more of a removable process and start offering that as a solution to their accounts? Or is it, hey, I'm a removable lab and now let me look to implement my digital process?
So I definitely think it's going to aid both, but I think the bigger winner is going to be somebody that hasn't implemented this yet into their system, because for some people it's a little bit scary to kind of make that jump into digital dentures. So this kind of eases that and makes it a little bit easier for them to use and kind of be able to introduce that into their offering. Expands it a lot faster than if they had to go through the learning process of going through the denture design training or so.
And how would a lab get the Copy Denture module? Does it come with complete restorative and some of the other software dental system options, or is it an add-on?
No, it's with complete restorative. I believe it comes with the denture module if you have it, but it's just an option that allows you to go ahead and choose it in the order form, and then from there, obviously, implements itself into the design stage.
Any other 19.3 updates that we should be excited about or look forward to?
Yeah. So I was talking about the auto design workflow that we had discussed earlier, and that is basically an option that allows the user to go from scanning directly into design by allowing the software to make the design proposal, and it walks it through each step. So you can go ahead and move through each step with the software as if it was doing an auto redesign, and then you can make any adjustments or changes as needed to the design or proposal that 3Shape has made for you. So that's going to be a nice fast feature, because instead of having to wait for every single step to load through the process, it just does it automatically, kind of increasing the overall time spent in the or decreasing the overall time spent in the design workflow.
And who do you think is benefiting from that? Is that like a production lab or an outsourcing center, or is
Most definitely a production lab or an outsourcing center that's going to be dealing with a high volume of single unit cases, because this option isn't available for all cases. It's just on single copings or single crowns. So any instance that you're going to be running into a high volume of those single units, it might be a little bit more beneficial.
awesome? Well, Matt, thanks for your time. Look forward to seeing what comes out next, and appreciate your efforts.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrew.